Hello dear friend, and welcome to On This Day SMR with me, Edward Hertz, where we take a look back through history at events which took place on this day. The rain is gently pittering and pattering away on the window, and the fire is crackling away nicely in the hearth. So put your headphones on, sit back, relax, and let me take you on a journey back through time. Today is Monday the 22nd of January 2024, and we have 50 events to cover, going all the way back to the year 613. Starting with the most recent event which happened this year. Ram Mandir is inaugurated by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi at Ayodhya, Uttar Pradesh, after 500 years of dispute. 15 years ago in 2009, US President Barack Obama signs an executive order to close the Guantanamo Bay detention camp. Congressional opposition will prevent it being implemented. 17 years ago in 2007, at least 88 people are killed when 2 car bombs explode in the Bab al-Sharqi market in central Baghdad, Iraq. "18 years ago in 2006, Evo Morales is inaugurated as president of Bolivia, becoming the country's first indigenous president. 25 years ago in 1999, Australian missionary Graham Staines and his 2 sons are burned alive by radical Hindus while sleeping in their car in eastern India. 26 years ago in 1998, in the Space Shuttle program, Space Shuttle Endeavour launches on STS-89 to dock with the Russian space station Mir. 29 years ago in 1995, in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, Beit-Lid suicide bombing in central Israel near Netanyahu. 2 Gazans blow themselves up at a military transit point, killing 19 Israeli soldiers. 32 years ago in 1992, rebel forces occupy Zaire's national radio station in Kinshasa and broadcast a demand for the government's resignation. In the same year, in the Space Shuttle program, the Space Shuttle Discovery launches on STS-42, carrying Dr. Roberta Bondar, who becomes the first Canadian woman and first neurologist in space. 37 years ago in 1987, Philippine security forces open fire on a crowd of 10,000 to 15,000 demonstrators at Malacanang Palace, Manila, killing 13. 40 years ago in 1984, the Apple Macintosh, the first consumer computer to popularize the computer mouse and the graphical user interface, is introduced during a Super Bowl XVIII television commercial. 51 years ago in 1973, the Supreme Court of the United States delivers its decisions in Roe v. Wade and Doe v. Bolton, legalizing elective abortion in all 50 states. In the same year, the crew of Apollo 17 addresses a joint session of Congress after the completion of the final Apollo moon landing mission. Also in the same year, a chartered Boeing 707 explodes in flames upon landing at Kano Airport, Nigeria, killing 176. Also in the same year, in a bout for the World Heavyweight Boxing Championship in Kingston, Jamaica, challenger George Foreman knocks down champion Joe Frazier 6 times in the first 2 rounds before the fight is stopped by referee Arthur McCanty. 53 years ago in 1971, the Singapore Declaration, one of the two most important documents to the uncodified Constitution of the Commonwealth of Nations, is issued. 54 years ago in 1970, the Boeing 747, the world's first jumbo jet, enters commercial service for launch customer Pan American Airways with its maiden voyage from New York's John F. Kennedy International Airport to London Heathrow Airport. 56 years ago in 1968, in the Apollo program, Apollo 5 lifts off, carrying the first lunar module into space. In the same year, Operation Igloo White, a US electronic surveillance system to stop communist infiltration into South Vietnam, begins installation. 57 years ago in 1967, between dozens and hundreds of anti-Somocista demonstrators are killed by the Nicaraguan National Guard in Managua. 61 years ago in 1963, the Elysee Treaty of Cooperation between France and West Germany is signed by Charles de Gaulle and Konrad Adenauer. 67 years ago in 1957, Israel withdraws from the Sinai Peninsula. In the same year, the New York City Mad bomber George P. Metesky is arrested in Waterbury, Connecticut, and charged with planting more than 30 bombs. "77 years ago in 1947, KTLA, the first commercial television station west of the Mississippi River, begins operation in Hollywood. 78 years ago in 1946, in Iran, Qazai Muhammad declares the Independent People's Republic of Mahabad at Chahar Charag Square in the Kurdish city of Mahabad. He becomes the new president and Haji Baba Sheikh becomes the Prime Minister. In the same year, creation of the Central Intelligence Group, forerunner of the Central Intelligence Agency. 80 years ago in 1944, in World War II, the Allies commence Operation Shingle, an assault on Anzio and Nettuno, Italy. 81 years ago in 1943, also in World War II, Australian and American forces defeat Japanese army and navy units in the bitterly fought Battle of Boona Gunner. 83 years ago in 1941, also in World War II, British and Commonwealth troops capture Tobruk from Italian forces during Operation Compass. 97 years ago in 1927, Teddy Worklam gives the first live radio commentary of a football match between Arsenal FC and Sheffield United at Highbury. 100 years ago in 1924, Ramsay MacDonald becomes the first Labour Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. 105 years ago in 1919, Act Zluky is signed, unifying the Ukrainian People's Republic and the West Ukrainian National Republic. 107 years ago in 1917, American entry into World War I, President Woodrow Wilson of the still neutral United States calls for peace without victory in Europe. 109 years ago in 1915, over 600 people are killed in Guadalajara, Mexico, when a train plunges off the track into a deep canyon. 118 years ago in 1906, SS Valencia runs aground on rocks on Vancouver Island, British Columbia, killing more than 130. 119 years ago in 1905, Bloody Sunday in St. Petersburg, beginning of the 1905 revolution. 123 years ago in 1901, Edward VII is proclaimed King of the United Kingdom after the death of his mother, Queen Victoria. 134 years ago in 1890, the United Mine Workers of America is founded in Columbus, Ohio. 145 years ago in 1879, the Battle of Isand Luana during the Anglo-Zulu War results in a British defeat. In the same year, in the Battle of Rorke's Drift, also during the Anglo-Zulu War, and just some 15 kilometres or 9.3 miles away from Isand Luana, result in a British victory. 161 years ago in 1863, the January Uprising breaks out in Poland, Lithuania and Belarus. The aim of the national movement is to regain Polish, Lithuanian, Ruthenian Commonwealth from occupation by Russia. 175 years ago in 1849, in the Second Anglo-Sikh War, the siege of Multan ends after 9 months when the last Sikh defenders of Multan, Punjab, surrender. 200 years ago in 1824, the Ashantis defeat British forces in the Gold Coast. 216 years ago in 1808, the Portuguese royal family arrives in Brazil after fleeing the French army's invasion of Portugal 2 months earlier. 335 years ago in 1689, the Convention Parliament convenes to determine whether James II and VII, the last Roman Catholic monarch of England, Ireland and Scotland, had vacated the thrones of England and Ireland when he fled to France in 1688. 469 years ago in 1555, the Ava Kingdom falls to the Tuangu dynasty in what is now Myanmar. 507 years ago in 1517, the Ottoman Empire under Selim I defeats the Mamluk Sultanate and captures present-day Egypt at the Battle of Riddan-Iya. 518 years ago in 1506, the first contingent of 150 Swiss Guards arrives at the Vatican. 1153 years ago in 871, in the Battle of Basing, the West Saxons, led by King Ethelred I, are defeated by the Danelaw Vikings at Basing. 1411 years ago, in the year 613, 8-month-old Constantine is crowned as co-emperor Caesar by his father Heraclius at Constantinople. So that is all we have for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope that you found our little trip back through history both relaxing and informative. If you did indeed like the video, please consider giving it a thumbs up, and also consider leaving a comment below. All feedback is very much welcome. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel. It will really help the channel grow and will ensure that you are notified of future videos. Be sure to turn on notifications so that you are notified of future videos as soon as they are posted. Thank you again, and I hope to see you next time.